First public hearing, 2023-2024 town budget, September 12th, 2023. Roll call, please.
Mayor Gregory Freebold.
Here.
Vice Mayor Robert Shalhoub.
Here.
President Pro Tem Valentine Rodriguez.
Here.
Councilmember Robert Gonzalez.
Present.
Councilmember John Maples.
Here. Okay, we can stand for a moment of silence and invocation. This evening, we are going to observe a moment of silence for Isabel Fisher, who was 99 years old, and is Lieutenant Fisher's grandmother-in-law, Chris Fisher. We remember him. He was part of Lake Clark Shores Police Department for some time. And Lisa Burns Small was 8/19/2023. She was 74 years young. She was a retired city clerk, City of Temple Terrace. I'm going to take it upon myself to add one this evening for everybody's dear friend, Jimmy Buffett, who left us on September 1st. So if we could all just take a moment and remember. May eternal light shine upon them, Lord. Pastor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let's look to the word. We love because he first loved us. Whoever claims to love God yet hates a brother or sister is a liar. For whoever does not love their brother and sister whom they have seen cannot love God whom they have not seen. And he has given us this command: anyone who loves God must also love their brother and sister. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the love that you have imparted upon us. We pray, Father, that you would unite us by your Spirit in love. And even in this moment, Father, I think of our dear friend, Bill Murphy, at the hospital. And Father, pray that you might watch over him, and Father, that you would give him good health. Bind us together as we each love this community. We desire to serve you and serve you well. We need your wisdom, your discernment, and your knowledge. Go before us in thy precious and holy name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Pastor, lead us.
Yes,
Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor. Okay, we'll keep it moving. The first public hearing, 2023-2024 town budget. Presentation by Town Manager Joseph Labello. It's all yours.
Thank you, Mayor. We have three agendas for you tonight. The first one is on the budget, the tentative budget, and the tentative millage rate. So let me get started because we have a lot of agendas to get through. I'd like you to turn to page 2 of the budget message. It's in the small booklet right here. It's on the budget calendar. We're right on schedule. It says right in the middle there that the 12th we'll have our first public hearing. And on the 27th, we'll adopt actually the millage rate and we'll adopt the budget. But tonight is just to discuss it, to see if you like the tentative millage rate, you have any questions, and if you like what we're proposing. So go to the next page. The next page is the budget message. Staff is proposing a tentative general fund budget of $5,741,258. We have an enterprise fund, which is our utilities. We're going to be recommending of $5,991,600. That'll be approved with our general fund at our next meeting on the 27th. So a total of $11,732,858. So what has changed from July? July, we said we're proposing the same millage rate as last year, which was 6.2798, which was no change. We said there's just too many variables, there's too many estimates that are not complete. So we looked at, obviously, more data came in August, and we have a change. We're recommending a reduction in the millage rate at from the 6.2798 to 6.1. That is still unfortunately a 6.1%, 6.11% over the rollback rate of 5.7490. And the rate is actually 2.86% less than last year's millage rate. So what does that mean to the average person? Because it's all confusing. If you are a homesteaded person and you have your property homesteaded, your taxable value can only go up 3%. Everybody should know that. Save your homes. So now, if we're reducing our millage rate by almost 3%, 2.86%, if you're homesteaded, you're not going to see a tax increase from the town. You might see it from other jurisdictions, but not from the town. Now, where do we get that other 6%? It's from the commercial, non-residential properties, as that's where we get the other 6%. But if you're homesteaded, if the council goes with this millage rate, you're not going to basically see a tax increase. So how did that happen? We said last year, back in July, sorry, that our major things on the operating side, we had a good waste management. We pay for all your garbage. If you're if you have a home in Lake Clark Shores, that we pay for your garbage, and we have a long-term contract that only goes up 3% a year. What we're concerned about is property insurance. And more importantly, we have what we call a package deal. It's property and liability and casualty. We have police liability, of workers' comp. If you run a business or if you run a government, there's a lot of insurances and packages you have to buy. So we call that a package. We were estimating back in July about a 30% increase. Unfortunately, it came in, as I warned, it came in at about 50 or 60%. So in real dollars, it's about 140,000 going to about 210, 220,000. We're still negotiating with we got two quotes. We're lucky to get two quotes, one from our current carrier and another one that we're still negotiating. Emily and I and Mary are still looking at each of the details, and we'll hopefully make a decision by this week or next week. But we do have two proposals under 220,000. So how did we get to this decrease in millage rate? Mainly it was on the revenue side. The state revenues, the state shares revenues with us. It's basically based on sales tax. That's how the state makes their money, is on sales tax. Their projections were better than we expected. So that's one of the reasons why we're proposing a reduction in millage rate. The others is, you're seeing it everywhere, is interest rates. What we have in investment income and in interest income our projections keep going up and up. Our monies are almost making 6% now. We have a sweep account. Anything above a balance of a couple $100,000 is swept. Anything in our operating account goes to a sweep account. It almost makes 5%. So nothing is really idle, and we're making a lot of money on interest. So there's bad things about inflation, but that's the one thing good about inflation is the Fed tries, as we went over last meeting, they try to combat inflation by increasing interest rates. So that's the story of where we got from July to today. Is none of the projects really have changed. We put another $150,000 for the bridge, which I'll go over under my comments, but we are out to bid on the bridge right now. But estimates keep going up for that bridge. But the reasons why was on the revenue side, where we're recommending a lower millage rate. And I believe that hasn't happened in many years. So I'm here to take questions.
Any questions for Mr. Lobello? Vice Mayor, you good? You're the Vice Mayor over here.
Yeah, that's good to me.
I'm good to go. I've already talked to Mr. Lobello, gone over the budget with him, taken a look at the expenditures, cut back a little bit here and a little bit there. And we're looking good. Thank you very much for all your hard work, Joe.
Thank you.
Mr. Pro Tem? Yep,
I think this is our first cut in how many years?
long time.
At least 10, maybe
Yep.
15.
Yep.
That's good, good news. That's all I have.
Good. Mr. Maples?
Yeah, thanks, Joe. I did spend some time with you yesterday. We spent quite a bit of time going through the budget, and obviously excited to see the contingency fund, excited about the interest being made there. And I know we talked about some things, that the utility and the general fund being combined, but it's exciting.
Thank you.
Great time for the town. So thank you for your work.
Thank you, John.
Okay, I'm good. I've met with Mr. Lobello as well, and everything appears to be in order. We'll go to audience comments. Mr. Daughtry, you have a card up here. You ready?
Tim Daughtry, 1410 Keller Road. So I see the budget again. I see 16% increase in the budget this year. Okay. And I see only a reduction of 2.88 in the millage rate. And I keep looking at this and I keep looking at this and I keep looking at this. And we're a town of 1,400 houses. We're a town of 3,500 residents. Almost a third of our residents are single people in their houses over 65. Okay. Anything we can do to help them is important. And I don't think we're helping them enough. Okay. We need to be giving them a reduction, not the same amount in taxes year over year. We need cut expenses, okay? There's been a creep in the budget year after year after year after year since our last big drop in real estate revenues in this town. And there's a number of issues I've got with certain things in this budget that really concern me, okay? And just a quick run through, I see an increase in page 5, about 6 or 7 items from the bottom. I see an increase in general government of 47% from last year to this year, 733,000 to 1.3 mil. Okay, just doesn't look good to me. Does not look good to me. And then something else that just really struck me as I was going through here. I see a significant increase in court fines year over year. A concern to me. And I'll get back to that with some other comments I'm making both now and in the general meeting. But the thing that keeps coming up and gets mentioned to me all the time is vehicles. Okay, and I don't know what else to say other than vehicles. We're paying too much for big SUVs, a Suburban for Joe. It's a great vehicle. It's a great vehicle. No need for a vehicle that large, okay, for Joe. There isn't, okay. Most of the town administrators or town managers are getting automobile allowance and not a vehicle provided by the town, okay, especially one of that size and that expense, okay. Again, all the SUVs we've got driving around. I mean, I've been here during shift change for the police officers and I've sat out there and counted them and it's just way too many. We need to cut back on our automobile expenses and our number of automobiles and the size of our automobiles. Okay. Staffing. We need to look at our staffing. Okay. Again, the creep. You can call it creep, you can call it bloat, you can call it whatever it is. Okay. We don't need all the employees we got. Okay. I saw an advertisement for an assistant financial manager. I talked to Joe about that and everything else. He gave me his opinion about that. My opinion is different. Okay. A town of 1,300 houses. We are under 1 square mile of area in this town. We're a small town. We need an assistant finance manager. We got a finance person here. Okay. That's what we got. We got a finance person here. We hired this person. He's got all the financial experience that we could ever ask for. Okay. And so we're going to hire an assistant finance manager? I don't think so. Okay. I've watched code enforcement. We got a full-time code enforcement officer now with a vehicle. Okay. Previously Dana was handling code enforcement, and she was a police officer and a code enforcement officer driving an existing policing vehicle, okay? So we're adding, okay? I don't think we should be adding, especially with the small town that we are, okay? And now we're talking about adding a magistrate to handle our code enforcement issues. I think that's insane. I really do. That's adding expenses, okay? And then, and I'll say it, I'll just be honest about it. We hired Joe as a town manager and Dan stayed on our payroll, okay? Okay, that's an added expense, okay? I don't care how good an engineer Dan is, and he is a good engineer, I grant you that. And there is some benefits to having his engineering experience to our town, but we're doubling up there, okay? No need for us to do that. We've got to look at it a different way to cut expenses. The property at Westlake and Forest Hill Boulevard, it's long since time that property should be sold, okay? Long since time that property needs to be sold. It sat there. And then I look at what we're paying for services, okay? We're completing the wall at Florida Mango, and there was some discussion last meeting about 30,000 and change to do that, okay? I'm in the contracting business. There isn't $30,000 worth of work there. I know what the cost of masonry is. I know what the cost of stucco is. I know what the cost of painting is. I'm in the industry, okay? I think we're overpaying for it. We also mentioned last time about the lighting on the pickleball courts and spending money on that. Has anybody that works for this town even called DAVCO? Okay, they are the sports lighting person in this county. I would guarantee you at the present time, they have the material lying in their yard to light our pickleball courts, which could save us significant sums of money. Okay, we need to be looking at where we're expending, where we have our expenditures. And then I look at engineering, okay? We have budgeted time and time again, engineering expenses for Micah West and the sewer project. This has happened a long time ago and the engineering payments have continued and continued and continued. I've never seen final plans and final costs ready for bid, a bid package that could be bid on. This has been going on a very long time with no resolution. Okay, how much longer do we need to be paying for engineering expenses on something that's been worked on for a tremendous length of time with no resolution? So thank you very much.
Okay, anybody else? Any other comments from the audience regarding the budget? Come right up.
Thank you. Victoria Williams, 7525 Alpha Court East. 19-year resident. Vulnerability study over on page 24. Just interested, what's the scope of that? I looked and it's a 1,400, well, it's a big dollar amount. So I just wanted to find out what that would be encompassing. Thank you.
Page 24.
Number 53105.
You all right? I'm reconnecting my hearing aids. I'm sorry.
It's important, Bob.
It's important so I can hear.
What did you say?
What did he say? Yeah.
All right, I'm sorry, Victoria. Now we're in business. I couldn't hear. I apologize. What were we looking at?
Vulnerability study. I wondered what the scope might be. It's on page 24.
Okay. Mr. Labella?
You want me to answer that? Sure. That is a grant that we were awarded. And let me get you the exact numbers. I think it was like 117,000.
Page 24,
Okay.
53105 line.
Basically, I don't even have to look at it. It was like $120,000 grant. I mean, 154,000. Thanks. I can't see it. I'm sorry. But we did get grant monies for that. I think it was like a 75 or an 80% grant match. So we only have to spend about $30,000 if my recollection is correct. And that could be in-kind services. So it could actually be engineering in-house. And it's the basis of it is the state is awarding these throughout the state to cities, the 411 cities, for sea level rise or any other things that are happening for climate change. So to see what that'll be in the next 20 to 30 years, how do we combat that? But
I'm sure the bridge will look at that too.
Yep. But the vast majority we did get from a grant.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, any other audience comments? Fran, come on up. Okay.
Fran Carlton, 8432 Waterway Drive. If we received a grant of 75 to 80% of the 154,000, like Victoria said, you said it can go to climate change, but the vulnerability study, isn't there any way we could use that towards some of these things that we're already doing rather than put it in as a whole nother line item?
No, what it is it's studied to see what each city needs to combat climate change and sea level rise. And all it is a study. And basically what the findings are, if there's projects needed, it becomes a higher priority to get granting from the state. So the state doesn't want to just hand out money. They want to see if there's justification to do any of these projects.
We couldn't say our bridges are needed.
No.
Then I think cleaning the lake is a need, because if we clean the lake, we wouldn't have problems with other things to do with the climate and the environment.
Thank you.
Okay, any further audience comments? Anybody? No? All right, ladies, do we have any emailed questions?
No, there's no emailed questions, but there's somebody online that would like to speak. Her name is Victoria Prinzi.
Okay.
Okay, Victoria, you're self-muted, so you're gonna have to press that microphone button to speak.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Great, thank you so much, and thank you for the time. I have something that I actually was going to talk about in the regular meeting, but since it is a budget meeting, this is probably a more appropriate time to bring it up. I was, just so you know my background, oh, I'm sorry, 1411 Coranda Circle, Victoria Prinzi. Just so you know my background, I am a corporate accountant and fraud investigator. So I do handle, I have run companies, smaller companies. I've been corporate accounting for the board on bigger companies like, Tire Kingdom and a few other big ones. Anyway. I can say this, that, we're small, and anytime you deal with small, it's always my thing that it's not about any one thing. It's not about great sales or about a great product. I know this is this is different because it's a town, but the concept is the same. Is when it's something small, a business could go under if you don't look at everything. Sales could be great, but if you have your expenses are too high, it could go down. I mean, if you're over marketing or not marketing, and small things, any one thing could bring you down. So the point is everything needs to be looked at. And the reason I started looking at this one I'm going to talk about now was because of the Airbnb issue. But I talked to someone in your office and, paid a fee to get invoiced, to get details. And this is on the police doing surveillance at homes when people go on vacation or they're not at home. And, they do it for free. So I was looking at that because I thought, I mean, I have a neighbor that does it like more than half a year. And, I see the police there and I always think like, this is a lot of going on for free. And, I know that when I have security and I paid a fee to the town of Lake Clark Shores so that if my alarm goes off, which it never did, if my alarm goes off, you guys would come or the police would come, but I had to pay for that. I had to pay if the police may come once. And then there was like rules that if they come more than twice, there's even further fees. And that's like for having my own security. And then I'm looking at snowbirds or other people going on vacation and for free, their house is being surveyed every day. So, I mean, I think that's a very big expense. And it's also not fair to all of us who were paying fees for a lot of other things, like the security and cops coming for security. And also coming up, the next speech will be the Airbnb business. So anyway, I talked to your office. I paid $50, which was a little bit more for 2 hours of work to gather the records on about, on the police activity for home surveillances. I was very liberal. I was very liberal in my estimates in your favor because I didn't want to, go overboard. I asked Susanna to provide records for homes that are surveilled for more than a month. In other words, I'm excluding the 1, 2, 3, 4 week vacationers, which are the residents. So a majority of the homes that the police are surveilling and offering free security to are snowbirds. So not only are they not people who are, probably not people who are homeowners and we're struggling with all of our issues with insurance and property taxes, like everyone's already mentioned, and you guys too. But we're talking about now free services to people who could afford 2 homes, which is fine. God bless them. I wish they could afford 100, but I'm paying for them. And, it's getting hard enough to pay for myself right now. So anyway, I asked Suzanne for numbers only for more than a month. Any homes that were being surveilled for more than a month. So that's not looking at anyone who goes away for a week or two. And then I applied to that. Anyway, that's like about 1,500 total times in the last month, year and a half, more or less, that a police. She counted up, so it's not going to be exact, but she counted up the homes that were more than a month long. And she came up with 1,500 times. I'm rounding my numbers. If you look at that, and then I went online to a website that gives you what the police and everybody makes. And, there's a government website where you could pull people's salary for Lake Clark Shores or government salaries. And I took an average, I really didn't know what to use per hour because there was a range of, 60 to 100,000 or more. But and then I broke that down to an hourly wage and I came up with $40 an hour. So all those visits, a 15-minute visit, and I'm sure for the bigger homes, they spend more than 15 minutes. I live at a 3-2. My house next door is a 3-2. The cop's usually there about 15 minutes between coming, checking all the doors and everything, and then getting back in the car and then writing up his report or whatever. So it could be even more. And that's why I say I was conservative. I only did an average of $40 an hour, which it could have been more. And I only did 15 minutes per visit, which could also be more, most times. So in any case, in a year and a half, that's $14,000, no more. It's almost $15,000 that we're giving away for free. That's a lot of money. And you know what? It's not even a line item in the budget. If it is, I apologize. I couldn't find it. But that's not, I don't know if you guys even realize that. And again, I'm not talking about people who go on vacation for 2 weeks. That's not even included. I'm not talking about the residents who actually live here all year and maybe need a week or 2 weeks help. I'm talking about $15,000 to people who could afford more than one home. So I would really like to see that added to the budget and changed. I don't see why we would have to pay for security to cops to show up at our house if our alarm goes off, but these people don't have to pay. I mean, that's totally unfair. It's not only something that should be considered because it's 15K, if not more. But I think that it's unfair to us who live here and are paying for everything else. Just to get these records, I had to pay almost, it was like $56. Like, you guys aren't giving anything away free, and yet you give this away free to probably non-residents.
Mr.
I
Mayor,
mean,
if
they
I
live here.
maybe I apologize, Victoria. I wanted to ask you a question, but I want to ask for permission to
Go
ask
ahead,
the
go
question.
ahead.
And then I apologize. I didn't mean to cut you off midstream. We definitely, and I'll just go ahead and go on a limb. I think that we understand exactly where you're coming from, and I think that your analysis and your numbers are certainly insightful. I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned 1,500 occurrences. Have you dialed it down to the exact number of homes that are receiving this benefit that is over 1 month?
No, but you could ask Suzanne. She had that. I felt bad. I didn't want to make her crazy.
No. And I get it. And I mean, I think that I think that what you're pointing at, it's something that has been offered to the residents for many years. And yeah, I think that this is something that has kind of expanded, I guess. So thank you for bringing it to our attention. It's certainly something that I'm going to be discussing it with Chief Wes Smith and see how we can at least track it so that we can understand more about what's going on. So thank you for bringing it to our attention. So you don't have, and were you able to dial it down to just in the past year, not in the past year and a half, just because the fiscal budget goes on a year-to-year basis?
And what year are you talking about?
So for 2022, the fiscal year of 22 and 23, have you been able to just determine what it is on a year-over-year basis? Because I know that you mentioned it's a year and a half, and we're at about $14,000.
Well, the year and a half is 2022 and 2023, all of 2022, and then about half of 2023. And it also does not include any current ongoing. These numbers were only for the closed cases. So let's just say there's 10 homes that are being surveyed right now. They're not included. This is only homes that were done and the case is closed. So if anything, it's more. It's more than that. But I know Suzanne did even mention the number of homes, so she'll know that. You can ask her because she did this for me. I just didn't want to bog her down, and
Sure.
I
Thank you
just
for
wanted
bringing this to our
a nice.
attention. Yeah, thank you very much for bringing it to our attention. I think we have a good idea, and thank you for your hard work and looking into it.
Yeah, definitely. And she could help you more because now she has the numbers. But if anybody has any questions on that, fine. If not, thank you very much. Talk to you again later today with the Airbnb business.
Yeah,
Thank you. Do we have any other written questions, ladies, or email questions?
No.
Chief, let me ask you a quick question. There is a difference between a house check and a false alarm, correct?
Yes.
And they respond differently
Well,
through the call.
on a false alarm, there's a fee if it's over 3, right?
I'm not talking about a fee. I'm talking about how the officers respond. They're going to respond differently to a false alarm where their life could be in jeopardy versus I'm on my routine drive-through and I'm doing a house check.
Yeah, the house checks are done when we're not busy. Actually, on the form, it says that we don't guarantee that we will check them
Sure.
if we're busy. So when we're not busy, we try to do a daily check. It's not done on a day shift, it'd be done on evening. With the alarms, there is a fee because people don't maintain their alarms. And it's
Right.
not fair for us to respond on an emergency because we respond with 2, maybe 3 officers. And it's expedited, so there's a little more danger.
And that procedure is followed by pretty much all municipalities, the sheriff's department, et cetera.
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
everything we do is consistent with what other departments do. The amount of money that she talked about, our officers, I think it's around 40 an hour, 30th average. And she was talking, what, 50?
No,
or
40.
60? 40, okay, so.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of difference in that. I had the numbers and I only had one copy and I gave it to the manager to look at today.
Okay,
In case that was, so he's got all the numbers and the information.
just so we're all clear and we're clarifying. Now, Charlie, let me ask you another question there. Is the public records fee, that's by Florida statute?
Correct.
Okay, so that's,
We have to do it. Yeah.
you have to.
Yes.
So there's no way around it.
And we-
It's not
and we
like
have to be
she's
fair.
being charged this and no one else is. It's a Florida statute, plain and simple. So
Would you like me to comment 2
I
minutes?
would love you to
Okay.
comment. Let's get everything
Well-
out in the open. Let's talk.
I'll be
Don't
quick.
talk to me, I don't know what you think.
Victoria was nice enough to call me about this, and she does bring up a good point. If this was sold in the original times, maybe 30 years ago, Chief, when this was vacation checks came up, it's about 30 years old. Obviously, it was sold that, you go on vacation for a few weeks or you go on a cruise, you'd like to have someone look at your house, right? To do a check. It was never sold. The intent was never that you're going to go away for 6 months and that somebody would check your house for 6 months. So Victoria does bring up a solid point. So what I will do is, obviously, I'm looking over the numbers and then I'll talk to my fellow managers in the county and to see if there's anything. Did they pass an ordinance to say you get a few weeks free and then after that you start to get charged? Because it was never really intended to handle snowbirds, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
That was not the sale. Am I correct, Chief? So I will definitely, Victoria brought it up to me. Thank you for bringing it up to me. I will look into it.
Okay, very good. Yes. Yes, of course. Come on up.
Fran Carlton, 8432 Waterway again. I think in the 50 years that I have lived here, last year or the beginning of this year, no, it was the end of last year, was the first time I've been gone a month. Other than that, it's a week, 2 weeks, 10 days, whatever. I do have neighbors that are residents here, that are very active here, and they do go away for 3 months. But they are residents of Lake Clark Shores, and they are very good residents of Lake Clark Shores. So that I would like you to consider too when you are looking at it. I understand that people that are gone half the year, that may be a whole nother story, but there are some residents who really live here and are gone for maybe as much as 3 months. But I think that a month needs to be,
There should be no
Okay.
problem with exploring covering
So-
cost, period.
no, absolutely. But I just wanted to point that out.
No, thanks.
Some of the people that are gone for maybe as long as 3 months are really residents of Lake Clark Shores.
Thank you for your input.
Okay. No further questions. Everybody's good? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Here we go. Thank you. All right, let's move forward. Okay,
Second roll call on the big book.
and we are going to do the general meeting, or we're doing the CRA.
This is CRA.
Okay, very good. I'm sure I'm on the right page.
This is-
So,
This color agenda, which is,
okay, we call to order Lake Clark Shores Community Redevelopment Agency, September 12th, 2023. Roll call, please.
Chairman Gregory Freebold.
Here.
Vice Chairman Robert Shalhoub.
Here.
Commissioner Valteen Rodriguez.
Here.
Commissioner Robert Gonzalez.
Here.
Commissioner John Maples.
Here.
Okay, we'll enter the public hearing portion. We're going to have a presentation of the CRA budget by Mr. Lobello. It's
Thank
all
you.
yours.
Thank you. This is our second agenda. This is where council and myself, you take off your hat as a council member and you put a hat as your CRA executive board, and I'm the executive director. So What we have tonight is a resolution. Basically, what we're asking you to do is approve the budget and ask for the council in this approval. It actually is not final. It's asking the town council on the 27th to approve the CRA budget. So that's your function as the CRA board. Obviously, it could be a different member, so that's why this is needed as a function. So you're acting as the CRA board. I'm acting as the executive director. So let's go over the budget. Budget basically has not changed much from the proposed budget in July. But let me point out the good things. This started in 2016. It's now grown to the town contributes $85,000 for the CRA. The CRA is basically the Forest Hill corridor to redevelop, to put quality development there, to put incentives, and to put new regulations. And that's gone up 43% in 1 year. But the real number is we're getting $64,000 of free money from the county. So when you create a CRA, the county actually contributes to that. So we as the town, we froze our taxable value in that area and we contribute every year, but the county gives us money that we would never get. So that's $64,000 is money that we would never get. So that has grown by 43% also. So the CRA is operating exactly the way you guys started in 2016. So it's growing. What we have in the proposed budget is what I said is basically what we proposed in July, and we're asking for approval. We had a great discussion at our last meeting in July, the chicken or the egg. Do we do some code changes? Do we do an overlay district? So we put in money for planning if that's what we want to do. Or do we want to start meeting with developers, property owners of the corridor and start talking to them and see what they see quality develop happening in their area. I'd love to do that anyway. So if you know of a property owner that wants to meet with me, I'd love to do that. Of any of those property on Forest Hill Boulevard, we're stressing quality development and quality redevelop, not only to enhance taxes for the town, but to enhance our quality of life. So that's the two goals. It's not only to enhance taxes, that's the easy part, but it's also to enhance our quality of life. So we have incentives in there in the budget. We have business incentives. We have in our CRAs are all our parks. So we have $110,000 of contributions to our parks this year. So it's very, it's pretty much the same as what we submitted in July, but we're asking for approval tonight.
Just to be clear, for the benefit of the audience, those dollars that we receive from this can only be used within the CRA district.
That's correct.
Correct. Okay, very good. Do we have any audience comments regarding the CRA budget? No? Any verbal or email questions or written questions, ladies?
No.
No? Okay. Do we have any commission comments from anyone here? Anybody?
I'm
We're all
good to go.
Everybody's good. Okay. Very good.
One comment.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to make a mention. I think that the CRA has done an incredible job luring and attracting businesses that many Lake Clark Shores residents are enjoying now in that plaza. Sushi Joe, Four Brothers, that plaza has really had a real renaissance, and my son really likes the donuts from Dunkin' Donuts. So thanks to the CRA, and I know a lot of that was done before my time, but thank you. We see it.
I can tell you when Duncan came in there, we were trying to get a Starbucks in there, and Starbucks told us the numbers weren't good enough. Boy, I wish they'd change their mind on that one now. That guy owns 6 or 7 stores within our area, and that's his busiest store. And if you've been down there during rush hour traffic, it can be monotonous.
Rather be Dunkin' Donuts. Starbucks is too expensive.
Well,
It really wouldn't
I don't-
have fit this community, I don't think.
well, they,
Let's
They,
not get into that. We
yeah,
might have Starbucks in the future.
yeah. Guard your comments,
Yes.
President Pro Tem.
The owner of that location
bias.
is Jeff Gordon, very nice guy,
Yeah.
not related to the professional NASCAR driver, but very nice guy, very nice family. They've been in the business for a very long time.
He used to be an accountant in Boston, Massachusetts.
Wow.
Yes, nice man.
That's why he runs a good business.
Family owned, nice business guy. Wished he would have known it years and years ago. He would have done it from what he told me. So, all right. So the CRA is alive and well. There's money in there. We're working that diligently. There's a lot of value to that land in between there and a lot of stuff we can do to improve for the residents here in Lake Clark Shores, just the area that we get to live within. So we'll have a motion for adjournment of the public hearing portion of agenda.
No, we have to pass a resolution, Mayor.
Well, it says adjournment of public hearing
Oh.
portion, so we'll go down.
You're right.
Okay.
I'm
Yep.
sorry.
I'm
So moved.
trying to
Mr.
stay on
Mayor.
track. Very good.
Yeah.
All right, so then we'll ask for the approval of the agenda.
Wait, can I
So
ask who
moved.
second first?
I'll second it.
Second.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think that was actually a formality. There was it, that was just writing saying we're going to move on. But I took it literally. So approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Approval of consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, new business, approval of resolution
So moved.
2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we have any further audience comments? No? Nothing emailed or,
No,
Written.
we're good.
pardon me? We're good?
Yep.
Any further commissioner comments? No? Okay. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, very good. So carries. Let's move on now to we'll call to order the agenda of the Town of Lake Clark Shores Town Council meeting, September 12th, 2023. Roll call, please.
Mayor Gregory Freebold,
Here.
Vice Mayor Robert Shalhoub,
Yeah.
President Pro Tem Valteen Rodriguez.
Here.
Councilmember Robert Gonzalez.
Here.
Councilmember John Maples.
Here.
Okay, thank you. So we will take a motion for approval of agenda.
May I interrupt you there, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Could I recommend that we remove 3D? Staff is not ready to recommend that yet. We're looking at
Under
other
consent?
options. Yes,
Okay.
3D.
Okay, so we'll remove 3D permanently
Yes,
till further notice.
yes.
Okay.
So
3D.
moved.
All right, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank
So
you.
now with the removal of matter 3D, we'll take a motion for the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second,
A second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, carries. Okay, we have no presentations, no quasi judicial proceedings, no public hearing. We will move to unfinished business. This is the second and final reading of ordinance 2023-03, amending chapter 125 to adopt a new division for vacation rentals. Mary?
An ordinance of the Town Council of the Town of Lake Clark Shores, Florida, amending Chapter 125 zoning of the Town Code of Ordinances by amending Article 7 supplemental regulations to adopt a new Division 16 vacation rentals, providing for applicability, providing for registration and inspection, providing for vacation rental standards, providing for violations, enforcement and remedies, providing for codification, severability, conflicts, and an effective date, and for other purposes.
Thank you. We'll move on to a presentation by Mr. Lobello.
Thank you very much. As you recall, we brought this up many times, but we did approve it on July 11th on first reading. Has been no changes to it since the last first reading. We're still recommending the same ordinance. I'll just go over it really briefly because there's no changes. As you know, we've talked about this in the past. We've been getting complaints from residents about the negative impacts that vacation rentals impose in a neighborhood. So in 2011, to give you some history, the state put a law into effect where it says we cannot prohibit vacation rentals. Any of the 411 cities cannot prohibit vacation rentals. They can't change the duration of rentals. So you basically only can do some regulations on safety and other negative impacts, but it's mainly based on safety. So if many of the comments I've got from calls from residents that say, we want you to do more. We want you to do more. We'll maybe try to prohibit them. We cannot. It's state law. We cannot prohibit vacation rentals in any of the cities in the state of Florida. So getting that out, what does this ordinance do? It tries to combat, like I said, some of the negative impacts. So how does it do that? It goes, any violation goes to the code board. So that it's a code violation. If you see a party that's 25 people, you know there's a problem, call the police, because What it says right now, you can only have 2 extra people per bedroom, over the bedroom. So if you have a 3-bedroom house, you can only have 8 people there. If you have a 4-bedroom house, you can only have 10 people there. So if you see a party of 20 people, 30 people, there's a problem. But there's also a registration. So we make sure they have all the proper licenses, they're paying all the proper taxes, because there's a lot of taxes you have to pay on short-term rentals, or if you get a hotel room, because that's what basically this is. You're getting the same taxes as a hotel room. So what do you do when you get a hotel room in Orlando? You pay sales tax, plus you pay tourist development taxes. We're making sure that's all being paid. And the most important thing is safety. We don't want to have public safety go out there for fires and other disturbances if we don't have to. So we make sure that it's safe, the building is safe, there's fire inspections, the pools are safe. So this is the most that I've seen out there to do to regulate, now they're not all bad players out there, but there's some that are bad players out there that have negative impacts in your community. So we want to make sure if that happens, we can send them a notice of violation and we can try to correct the action. So I'm recommending this on second reading.
Do we have any audience comments regarding this ordinance? No? Any
Yes.
emailed or anything of that nature?
Yes, so Victoria Prinzi again.
Okay.
Victoria, you're self-muted. Okay, now you're good.
Okay, thank you. Um, you know what? I'm getting a lot of feedback. Is there any way we could fix that?
There's
No,
there's
we're
no
good.
feedback here.
Oh, well, I'll live with it. Again, Victoria Prinzi at 1411 Carandis Circle. You know, I'm sorry I wasn't in some of the meetings in the beginning. I mean, I go to these meetings virtually every single month, and then I missed a few due to a personal problem. And that's when all of this came up, and I deeply regret that. You know, I understand, and I'm totally sure whoever's annoyed is for good reason. So I'm not diminishing what's going on. I'm not diminishing there could be a problem, but it's several. You know, I've heard it in the last meeting or two that we're talking several people. And then in addition to that, I'm looking at a bigger concept here. In addition to that, in the beginning, a year ago, we had a problem with a person with trucks. I'm not denying it was a problem. I'm totally sure the resident who was annoyed. But, you know, like we all have, all of a sudden, there's like a year spent on all these things that we're only talking about several. And all of us have to go through all this, go through the expense. You're going to have to go through the expense of the admin to take care of these things. We're going to have to increase staffing for this. You don't have the staffing for it now. I've done minor coding on things, or not coding, what do you mean? Permit. I've done minor permits that kind of take a long time and we have issues with. I just had to pay $250 because they said my permits weren't completed. They were. It's a couple of permits, you know, it was a fencing, it was a few things over the last few years. And, you know, they went through it. So like they couldn't, the office doesn't even keep up with that stuff. Now we have to keep up with Airbnbs. Again, it's like there are several problems. I'm not denying it. But do we have to go through this extreme? I mean, I read through that. The amount of rules and regulations you have are ridiculous. We go through that. If I want to Airbnb my house, which I may have to, so that's what made me look at it. And it's not because I want to, believe me. I may have to and go live with my sons because I now have $10,000 of property taxes and homeowners insurance. I might have to like actually couch hop for 3 months or 4 months just to make money so that I could, you know, stay in my little tiny 3-2 house. It's not even like major. I still have pink tile bathrooms. You know, it's not like it's an expensive home. So now it's like I have to pay $450 to do that. I mean, all of this is, again, it's just really annoying that you guys seem to like get 1 or 2 complaints or several. I agree. but it's a small percentage. And all of us have to go through all this. I mean, fine, you want to regulate the Airbnbs, be a little more fair. Don't make it like, you don't have to ask for all of our taxes. I have to do that with Airbnb. There's no reason I have to do it with you. You have to go through all the paperwork, all of that, have someone come and inspect my house. And you're like, oh, we want to make sure it's safe. Well, all of our homes should be safe, not just because they're Airbnb. Like, that comment doesn't even make sense. That comment is just like, we all live here. A fire could happen to any of us. We're not going to have more chances of a fire because someone's Airbnb. If people's homes aren't secure, they already aren't. Having being an Airbnb has nothing to do with it.
Okay,
So,
Ms. Brizzi, we have had over the course of several months, if you've been to the meetings and you've been listening, many residents coming and complaining regarding the Airbnbs. Some of it is safety related, especially when there are children in the homes next door and things of that nature. So this is preventative. I don't even know what the fee is going to be here, but I think it's minimal compared to what your income could be. So we understand that, and please, once again, come in, feel free to sit down and talk with Joe, and we'll see where things land.
but I think less regulations and less all of those regulations with all the, providing all the papers. I'm not going to do it. I'll do whatever I want with my house. I'm not going to do that. I'm just not. It's ridiculous. And you're taxing me, not only money wise, but you're taxing me stress wise, just so that I can continue to be a resident of Lake Clark Shores and keep my little crummy 3-2 home. I mean, I'm not doing this to make money so I can go on vacation. I'm going to have to couch hop. I'm going to have to go live with my sons,
I
adult
understand.
sons. I'm doing this. I'm going to have to do this for a reason, and you're just making it worse for me. Now, if you want to regulate things, there's ways to regulate it without it harassing the rest of us. Even a fee wise. I mean, why should I pay the same fee that maybe a 5 or 6 bedroom or those huge lake homes are? I don't think what you're doing is fair. If you have to do it, you have to do it. I get the point. You have to do it, but I think there's a lot. I think you could do it in a much smaller way that isn't so harassing and financially difficult. It's $450 would make a big difference to me. That would be a good percentage of my month.
I don't think it's a
So-
monthly fee, is it?
Yearly.
It's a yearly fee. Okay,
I know,
we
but if
understand,
I
Victoria.
rented a few
Thank you
months,
so
I'm
much.
saying it would be a
Um,
percentage of a month rented. So, the point is, I think you're getting way too carried away. We spent a whole year on trucks and things, and it was like one home. I can't believe the amount of money we spent with you guys spending all that time. This is just getting out of hand. You guys are turning into an HOA. I didn't like it. Last meeting was contentious.
That's
I
not
heard.
true. You can have an Airbnb and an HOA.
Well, you can have it.
They can regulate
They
you.
can regulate.
They can regulate you all they want.
They can deny it, yes.
They can deny it, which is what they do.
But they can also allow,
deny 'em.
they can also
So,
allow it.
All right, thank you, Victoria. We appreciate your comments.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on. Any council comments?
No, I'm good.
No council comments?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a comment, Mr.
Oh, yes, sir.
First, Victoria, thank you for calling in, and sorry to hear about the situation that you find yourself having to couch surf. Very challenging and difficult, and this council and many people in this town has spent a significant amount of time making sure we get this right. And this is obviously something that we came up with now, but it's not to say this is law. If things kind of change within our community, we can always bring this back to the table as something to come back and review in the future. But something needed to be done. And ultimately, this is where putting our brains together, going back to the drawing board, scratching things out, adding new stuff in, this is where we landed. And so for now, this is a start, Victoria. While that doesn't help your situation, again, sincerely, that's definitely not good. But, we're doing the best we can. And so hopefully, hopefully if this becomes a challenge, we can bring this back up to this council, and I'm sure we'd be willing to go back to the drawing board again on this issue. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I
Yes.
may be recognized.
Yes.
Victoria, just to respond to you, we had a very long conversation on the phone offline. And, you brought up some interesting points. And, I also mentioned that the average, I think, nightly rental in our neighborhood is hovering around that $400, $450 a night. That changes, but I also have, for the minority is the majority of people that I have spoken to, I should say, are completely 100% against Airbnbs. And I have an email from Mr. Tommy McGinnis, and I'll read just a snippet here, but I think he took my comments a little bit out of context, but it says here, and I quote, Mr. Gonzalez has said that short-term vacation rentals are good for LCS, but has yet to provide examples of how short-term vacation rentals benefit me, my fellow neighbors, and our collective safety, peace, privacy, and quality of life. New homeowners, long-term renters, and families with a stake in keeping LCS beautiful and safe is a better foundation. I agree with the end of it. I think that families and folks that have a stake in Lake Clark Shores will absolutely make our town have a better foundation. However, my comment said may be good for Lake Clark Shores, and I emphasize may be good because done correctly, right? And I'm not for Airbnbs. I want to be extremely clear about that. They are allowed because it is something that has been promulgated and brought from Tallahassee that we can no longer regulate in this area. We have been preempted. Big Brother or Tallahassee has basically said, Lake Clark Shores, we know what you guys think and feel, and you as a community, well, I'm sorry, we're taking that decision out of your hands, off the table, and we're going to regulate it. There are some communities that have been grandfathered in. So I've gotten a lot of articles from residents saying, but Orlando, they did it, or they're doing it, they're regulating it. Yes, they had laws on short-term rentals before the majority of the other 411 municipalities. And so just to kind of use something just very casually, the majority of municipalities got caught with their pants down in the sense that we're now trying to be reactive to this situation that is in these communities. So with that being said, the old saying goes, if you can't beat them, join them kind of mentality. This is our best way, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Lobello, but this is our best way to ensure that the foundation of Lake Clark Shores, our gem, and we've said it 100,000 times, we have a gem. This is our way of protecting that little slice of peace and paradise that we enjoy. Now, I'm not discounting what Mr. McGinnis has said in his email that, there was, it was a Saturday night on Antigua Road. There was people having a big party. And to Mr. Lobello's point, if there is that going on, regardless of whether it's a short-term rental, long-term rental, resident, these things shouldn't be happening in our community. There was, talk of folks smoking marijuana or whatnot outside and loud music, and that shouldn't be happening. But certainly our way of trying to regulate this and is a first step. It's not perfect. It's not the ideal solution or scenario, but certainly if the folks that are going to run these pseudo hotels are doing it the right way and following to ensure our peace, I don't think that that's something that's terrible because of the fact that we have to allow it. With that being said, one of my comments or one of my thoughts of how it could benefit Lake Clark Shores, I know that there's one Airbnb, and I think towards the end of the year, they're actually moving in now. The new owners, they didn't have the ability to move in because of work or whatnot. I think it's 7400 Pine Tree, but they did a fantastic job renovating the home. They've listed it on Airbnb temporarily, and from what I understand, they will be moving in. But this was their way to kind of help with the mortgage and expenses and whatnot. That's an opportunity that realtors, right, can now utilize some of these homes to showcase what our neighborhood is about. And I said it in the past, and I'll say it again. It's very difficult when you're home shopping and whether or not a particular neighborhood is going to work for you. You get to go and see the neighborhood, you get to see the home. Maybe you spend an hour or two in the home, kind of walking around, envisioning your stuff in there. But how is it going to work for your commute? How is it going to work for your family? And I think that Airbnbs, and this is a very small percentage, obviously, but I think that this is a great concept to say, hey, Lake Clark Shores is a great place to live. Try it out. So I think that I'm very proud of the work and the leadership that our community has done with trying to understand the Airbnb situation. So thank you, Mr. Lobello, for bringing your expertise to that. Sorry, it's a little bit long-winded, but obviously this is something that affects everybody, whether they're your neighbors, whether you are, somebody that wants to list their home on Airbnb. So we wanted to make sure that we get it right. And I think that we struck a nice balance with that. So thank you for listening.
Any other council comments?
I wanted to follow up on the letter that I received from Tom McGinnis also. We forwarded it on over to Joe. Joe looked into it, and there was a big problem. But what I appreciated, the fact that he supplied us with pictures, and Lake Clark Shores finest were there to handle the problem. So I appreciate that. And I believe you explained to Mr. McGinnis, so much of our hands are in fact tied. And I also expressed to him that I'm on the Municipal Administration League of the Florida League of Cities. And for the last several years, the number one priority has been short-term rentals. And it will continue to be our top priority. But it hasn't received the favorable response in the legislature that we had hoped to bring the control back to the local municipalities. But we're trying the best we can. Thank you very much.
And I'd like to add that I've been talking about the Tallahassee takeover for quite some time, and this is a way for local governments to take back some of our authority over what goes on in our neighborhoods. I don't live next to an Airbnb or anything of that nature, but I've seen the emails, I've seen the pictures, I've heard people calling me, and there's a reason why a bunch of these gentlemen up here and Mr. Clark have been again and again nominated for Home Rule Hero, because we're up here fighting for the rights of the people here in Lake Clark Shores. And it's just something that we can do to take back some control. Okay, so we will have a motion to
Mr.
approve.
Mayor, Mr.
Second?
Mayor.
Yes.
There's somebody online that
Oh,
wants
I'm
to
sorry.
speak. Yes. It's Michael Orwitz.
Hi, thank you for having me. How you doing?
Hi, Michael.
Hey, I just want to say I'm indifferent about Airbnbs. I see good and bad of both, but it's important to realize that these folks, like even those snowbirds that Ms. Prinzi referenced, could be a drain to our community, actually are paying 2 or 3 times the property tax that I'm paying or that Ms. Prinzi's paying. So in the end, the money coming in from these non-homesteaded properties more than offsets any cost we incur, which I think should make us comfortable adding realistic and reasonable costs to help turn them into productive assets to our community, turning lemons into lemonade. I think it can be done well. There's a property, I think, on Pine Tree Lane that pays over, I think, $27,000 this year is going to be on 7831 Pine Tree. I think that's an Airbnb, and I don't know of any complaints there. I think that might be a model. So it can work. And since we don't have any choice, it makes sense to just make it work and enjoy the increased revenue that these non-homesteaded properties bring to us.
Okay, thank you very much for your comments. We appreciate them.
Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
We have a second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carries.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to new business. Under new business, we'll discuss approval of the creation of a Lake Clark Shores Senior Club. Would you like to take this, Mr. Maples?
Yeah, I guess I'll start, and Joe, I'll pass it to you, just some of the work we've been doing.
Sure.
Really, this came about from residents connecting with me and saying that they needed an opportunity for folks in our community to come back together. They felt like they were alone, they've lost loved ones, And we have a lot of folks in our community that frankly need one another. And so we're just creating a place for them to be able to come together and learn, get educated on different things that's happening. And then potentially, if they want, have the opportunity to connect one another as residents and spend time together. So Joe, that's kind of a brief, but I'll let you get some of the details.
Okay. John and I had some great conversations on how we can do this. So one of the recommended ways to do this is to have like a set day, like the third Wednesday of every month. We have a senior club. We meet right here. We meet at about 11 o'clock. We have some coffee. We have some donuts. We have some cookies. And then we have an optional educational kind of sponsor or speaker that goes over CPR, goes over scams on the elderly, goes over how to handle Medicare. I actually went to one of those, even though I'm not that old. It's not that easy to actually navigate through Medicare. So there's a lot of things that we can actually target for our seniors. And then after that, obviously we'll have a small lunch because we always like to gather in food. And then they can stay later to have game playing, bingo, other games, camaraderie. In the beginning, this would take some staff time because we're going to seek out volunteers and stuff like that so it can run by itself. But if it's successful, you can wean off of those staff. You know, we estimated about 2 staff members about a couple hours a month, but that could be lower after this if this is a success. And then we can have volunteers run it, get the lunches, set up the programs, and we can have less staff time. So that's what we put in that cost of roughly about $1,800 for cost for food and supplies and maybe some staff time. But this is something that we came up with and looking at your input.
Good. Do we have, let's first, we'll take a motion for a matter of discussion to approve or no? Is there a motion on?
So moved.
Pardon me?
So moved.
So moved. Okay. Any discussion?
Why are you limiting it to seniors? I don't know the definition of seniors. There's a lot of people that might have lost loved ones. There's people that want to connect with everybody. So I think it should be open to everybody. This is an entire, you open it to everybody.
Okay.
Good.
My dad, who's passed, who's in heaven, but he went to a lot of senior clubs and they did the same thing. They called it a senior club, but they did welcome anyone.
They particularly welcome younger people.
Exactly.
I think it's a very interesting thought. And I think I support it. I'm just thinking, open it to everybody.
Yeah.
You know?
And I don't think anybody would be denied.
No, nobody, like I said, I'm not going to check your driver's license.
Unless somebody like me shows up.
Unless we have
with their young
wine.
Children.
Unless we have wine. Well, we have to check if we have wine or beer or spirits.
All right. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carries. Okay. Very good.
Thank you. So we'll put that on the buzz and we'll start.
And
Looking forward to it.
That'll be one of those things that we adjust as we go.
Yes,
Yes.
we'll keep you updated.
Okay, we're going to move on to audience comments. We are going to bring up Miss Deborah Tendrich real quick here. She's been very patient. She's here for a public service. Is that correct? Very good.
PSA.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. My name is Deborah Tendrich. I am the founder of a nonprofit called Eat Better, Live Better. And lately, we've been seeing a lot of teachers coming through our doors asking for food support because they can no longer afford it. What we've done over the past 4 years, this is our 4th year doing it, is something called Teachers Giving, where we actually surprise teachers and the staff of an entire school with turkeys. The teachers have no idea we're coming. The cafeteria workers have no idea we're coming. The paraprofessionals have no idea. The only person in the school who knows we're coming is a principal, because we have to make sure that we know how many staff are in the school. This year, actually last year we gave out about 1,200 turkeys, and this year we're expanding our efforts because FPL sponsored a school that could be anywhere in the county, and it's going through a nomination process where the community gets to nominate a public school. So I'm coming to all the commission meetings throughout the county to invite the cities to get involved with helping us spread the word, to make sure that the community, the students, the teachers, the parents, anyone who lives in the county can actually nominate a local public school. We have a nominating committee that goes through the nominations, and we actually select a school that will get turkeys. After that, we will do another, with the funds that we raise, that we can do additional schools. But we wanted to get the community involved, see what schools have had impacts with the residents, with the students, personal stories, so we can share them and bring more attention to the community and bringing more support to the teachers, because everyone knows they're overworked, underpaid, and right now they're having a lot of struggles with even just teaching. A lot of students are without teachers right now. Teachers are planning on quitting. So the least we can do is boost them around the schools so the community supports them. And what's really great is if you become a sponsor or support outside of just the nomination process, you can actually help bring the turkeys to the teachers. And it's a VIP volunteer experience, but it's been very well received. We've had tears, hugs, and it's just been a really great opportunity for people to show support. And we do it in front of the children. So the children actually see the community thanking and supporting the teachers as well. So I have my information. I just want to make sure that everyone can go to our website, eblb.org. It's called Eat Better, Live Better, so eblb.org, and actually go to the teachers giving page, scroll down, and you can actually submit a nomination. And I am working with some other cities to maybe put this information out on social media and through email marketing, just to make sure people have access to support a local teacher. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deborah. Good luck with your endeavor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
if I may, I know that maybe a year or two ago, we did donate some of the foods from our picnic, our town barbecue afterwards. I'm not sure if that's something that maybe we can help them with. And I know that I heard it's just turkeys, but that's just an idea. And
Okay.
Mr. Shalhoub here does a great job cooking, and sometimes we have some leftovers. So
I'm sure you can reach out to Deborah and she'll be happy to speak with you.
Last year, well, this year we did it to the food bank, I think. And we also did to the
Oh.
Palm Beach County Fire.
And the fire rescue.
Fire rescue.
Yes.
So Deborah, why don't you come to our barbecue and hang around in the pit crew back there, and we'll teach you how to cook some barbecue and eat some. And that brings me up, we need to take a look at when you get to your status report as to, let's pick a date for the barbecue.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not in charge.
Okay. Bernadette, come on up.
Deborah, I think that is a marvelous idea. I'd like to know how we could be more involved. I mean, what are you asking of us as a community? Just to vote for the school?
We can also secure additional sponsorships and funds.
For instance, like what are your sponsorships?
An individual supporter can be 150. Businesses start at 500, and you can actually adopt an entire school for 5,000 in elementary, a middle school for 6,500, and a high school for 8,000. So there are financial opportunities to get involved to be able to expand our efforts to even more teachers.
So you're saying if Lake Clark Shores as a community wants to adopt a school, they can do so for how much?
Elementary is 5,000, middle 6,500, and high school is 8,000, just because the number of staff change depending on the school.
And as individuals, like if any individuals in our community, so can you give that information to our staff and let that go out in some kind of buzz information? I mean, I think it's a very worthwhile cause. I think we need to support you in any way we can. We just need to know what support you need.
Right, so this is a VIP volunteer experience. So in order to help be involved in distributing the turkeys, you do have to make a financial contribution. So an individual can contribute 150, and they can become a VIP volunteer to help distribute the turkeys, and the businesses start at 500. So they're on our website, all the sponsorship opportunities, and if everyone wants to, they can, I have a few of my business cards, so people can contact me directly, and we can talk about how we can partner with the city and individuals to expand our efforts.
And the website is eblb.org. www.eblb.org. Deborah.
Yeah, we definitely have volunteers that help us with that. And one more thing, when I heard about the senior center, We actually set up farmers market, also with fresh produce, in partnership with cities or senior communities or different events. So we can also help partner with produce to the community as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah.
Deborah, that's Paul's mother right there.
Hmm.
Okay, Tim, you're up. Yes, sir.
What about Virginia?
She'll be up next. He filled out a card. He's been patiently waiting. Virginia, you'll be next.
Tim Daughtry, 1410 Keller Road. Tonight, I want to talk about code enforcement, the building department, and the building inspections and permitting. And what else can I say other than it's a disaster? Okay, it really is. It really is bad. Okay, now, that said, probably no different than any other municipality in the county. Okay, but as Victoria mentioned before, we're pushing more and more things on our residents. Okay, and as someone who's maybe on a fixed income or just trying to survive in this community, it's unacceptable what they have to go through. Okay, totally unacceptable. Okay. I've been violated a couple times in the last 6 months. Okay. And so I have some experience with it. I've also been involved in code enforcement and architectural review. I got over 20 years of experience in that. I've got over 50 years of experience as a contractor. Okay, so I've seen this both as someone where these things are being pushed upon them as a resident and as a contractor working in the business. And I don't know what else to say other than it's broke. It's totally broke. And it's broke all over the county, specifically with municipalities. Okay, it's a problem. More and more things are being pushed upon people. And I had Eric at my house on Thursday. Okay, and we had a discussion, and it's discussions I've had both behind the up on the dais and out here. And I've had discussions with Daniel also, who was our previous code enforcement officer, about some of these things. Okay, and I've seen Eric, and Eric's a full-time member doing code enforcement activities 100% all the time. Okay, and again, it's a cost. It's a cost. It's a cost. We're a small town. I just indicated, you know, we have 1,400 houses. We've got 3,500 residents, I believe is what it was. And we have 1/3 of our people are single individuals over 65 years of age living in their houses by themselves. Everything that we do, fining or citing them, is a cost to them. It's something else that they have to deal with to keep in their house. Okay. I've seen where Eric cited people. Okay. I see for the yards. I see for the driveways. I see for the roofs. Yards, I don't know what to say. If there's bare spots on the yard, there's bare spots on the yards. Everybody gets bare spots on the yards. Our town manager, our previous town administrator, had bare spots on his yards. Our town parks have bare spots. Okay. We have an impaired lake. If we continue to not take care of our lake and continue to think that we can irrigate the heck out of our yards and put herbicides all over our yards, we will never get out of this. Okay, we will never get out of this. The roofs, I'm a block away from Amtrak tracks. I'm a block away from 95. The amount of diesel debris that ends up in my yard, on my furniture, on my roof, there's no way I can keep my roof clean. It's an impossibility. Do you understand? It's an impossibility. Can't happen. Okay. And driveways, a driveway is a driveway. Okay. When I have to see one of our residents who's sitting right here, who has a cane, out there redoing her driveway in this heat, That's disgusting to be asking her to do that. It's disgusting, okay? It's not needed. It's not welcome, okay? It's not welcome, okay? When residents get cited for yard debris being 8 inches on the road, it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable under any circumstance, okay? And now we're talking about putting a magistrate in, okay? I believe in code enforcement, but it is gone over and above, okay? And when I get cited and I call a code enforcement officer, I would love for them to have a conversation with me or meet with me. If they can't even return my phone call, it's a problem, okay? It's a real problem. When I leave an extensive message about exactly what I have to do to take care of my code violations, and I can't even have a conversation with that code enforcement officer, it's unacceptable, okay? Totally unacceptable. Eric met with me, we went over things, and we're gonna get it worked out, okay? And in fact, yesterday I had my driveway resealed to the cost of $500. Again, another expense, okay? Yard debris, storage outside, which Dane has cited me for in the past. And actually, we've had conversations about it. The fact is, I talked with Eric about, it was just 2 bins, okay? And the reason I left them out there was to hide some rocks and some asphalt for repairing the driveway and put rocks out of bound around the postal box.
Tim, if you want to move on to your other items, you've got 3 items on this. I've already just given you 10 minutes and you're repeating yourself. So let's talk about the permitting and the inspections.
Okay, well,
Because the code enforcement, they come here and there's a lot of people who aren't happy with the way things look. And I've talked to other people within the county to have a law enforcement officer be part of the code is preposterous. So we acted on that because it's a prudent thing to do. The code is the code. It needs enforcing. I agree with you. There was a lot of stuff that I don't like to see. And there's a lot of people, my phone rings a lot more than yours when it comes to code enforcement and why it's allowed to look like that. So that's all this was. Ms. Bobrowski, I apologize that you had to get out there. We had that discussion in Publix. And my God, I'm glad you were able to do it. You're my idol. I hope that when I'm where you are, that I can do that also. So let's quickly talk about what your problem is with permitting and inspections.
You've gone to online permitting.
Yes, we have.
Okay.
Yes, we have, to help expedite things and make it better.
And it's broke.
Well, we're trying to fix it and we cannot fix everything overnight. How long have we been doing that online?
It's less than a month.
It's less than a month. Give us some time to get our feet wet and iron out the kinks.
It's
and we
actually
will.
working out a lot.
So, okay, let's talk about the inspections. What's up with
Well,
inspections?
can I just discuss that with you?
Well,
What I have to file for a permit in this town, okay?
it's not just this town, Tim. You know that. You've been around long enough to know it's not just this town.
I've never been asked for that in over 50
Well,
years.
this is part of the change that's going on and this is what's going to be happening and we're ironing things out and we're trying to also accommodate those who want to see things different. So we'll work on it. I got you. Inspections are broken. Code enforcement's broken. What about, and the permittings? What's the matter with the inspections?
Okay, so here's a good example. I watched Chris next door to me with his permitting issues,
Mhm.
which he was violated on, okay? And it's my next door neighbor, a new resident of this town, and what he had to go through was ridiculous, okay?
Well, I have no knowledge of that and it
Okay,
could all be
so-
hearsay. So I don't know if you're talking to him or we get a lot of different, I had my neighbor come to me worried about his boat lift. He called me. He did not have all of his papers in order. Those are legal liability issues. I made a phone call, we got it ironed out, and within 30 days, he had his boat lift. So everything's not going to be perfect. And when you think that there's not enough staff in this town, this is why we need some more staff to help us do things, to help the administration. These council members up here, we all have other lives, as you know. We go out there and work every single day, just like you, and get out there and do all these things. So staff needs additional help. And this is why, because you're probably right. There are some things that need adjusting and fixing, but that's what's going down. And with less staff, it doesn't work.
But in the meantime, it extends things out, it costs people more money. Do you understand that, Greg?
I do understand that. Listen, Tim, I'm on a limited budget too. I work 70 to 80 hours a week to be able to live in this town. and my children are grown, and it's just part of wanting to live in a nice community. If you're going to be on the water, it takes money. So we're trying to get this fixed. So your inspection, you don't like the inspection process either.
Well, okay, we're
We
using.
use a third
we're
party.
using- we're
We
using
use a third
Tiger,
party.
okay?
It's
And
not
Mike's-
our
Mike's
guy.
a good guy. He's a good guy.
Okay.
But he gets the bottom of the barrel with the inspectors, okay? It's that simple. That's his business.
That's out of our realm.
Okay, and I understand that. But here's the deal. We have a state adoption of a National Electrical Code 2017, okay? Okay, not 2020, okay, not 2023, 2017. I'm very clear about that, okay? I've been an electrical contractor a long time.
I got that.
Okay.
Continue.
When these inspectors come out and start imposing additional,
That's
things-
beyond our realm also. That's a
I-
state issue. You may need
I
to
can
take that up
update
with the
that
state.
on when I get to my comments, Mayor.
Pardon me?
I can update that on.
He's going to update on his
okay,
comments.
it's a problem. It's a problem. And here's the deal. When they come out and inspect, they get one bite of the apple. They make a list, you correct things. But if you have different inspectors come out and then every person that comes out gives you a different list, the job will never get done, Greg.
Tim, I understand. You and I have known each other a long time now. You've never been happy with the inspection. You didn't like Joe. You remember Joe? You didn't like him.
Joe and I had a very good relationship.
But you didn't like him. You've told me that once before. I
But Joe
understand.
had
But
a
what I
way of
want you to,
doing it.
what I
He had a
want you to
way of-
What are we
understand
doing
here,
here? What are we doing?
we're going to put this to an end. What I want you to understand is that we're aware, he's going to address that, and we're working on it, okay? Let's agree to disagree.
Okay, we
All
will.
right, thank you.
No, it's not.
Victoria is waiting to come on up. I appreciate it, Tim. Victoria, would you like to come on up now? I understand.
Understatement of
I'll try and make it before the bell, not to be adversarial, but I just wanted to share my experience. Victoria Williams, 7525 Alpha Court East. We were blessed by God to get in there 19 years ago, and I've loved it. So for 19 years, my property, which is on an interior corner, Saturday in the mail, got a little yellow piece of paper, code enforcement being the topic. Yeah, it says I'm violating, says boats, trailers can no longer be stored in the driveway. So I went on down, and unfortunately it was a code enforcement officer's day off, left a message, spoke with some people over there. At the police department, they were very helpful, gave me the piece of paper that was put on a lot of people's doors, I was told, but not mine. When y'all passed this ordinance about boat trailers, courtesy notice about a new ordinance regarding parking your vehicle. Sorry, it fell off my radar. I didn't know about this. I have no place in here that I can see the words can no longer be stored in the driveway. I don't read that in here anywhere. So again, apology. Today he was in court, I guess. I guess we're playing tag on the telephone. But I just wanted to understand how come, corrective action, please don't store the boat in the driveway. Well, on the section that I'm reading about boat trailers, it says behind the front line, right, of the house. Yeah, it's here, sorry. The actual boat trailer is behind the front line of my house on Alpha Court East. I have a circular drive. And so the Alpha Court South side is the side that my boat's been in for 19 years. Seeing that I've got 7 days to comply, I think that this became law on the 28th. This was written on the 5th of September and put in the mail. I got it Saturday. I've been trying to reach out ever since. Okay, point made. But just a quick couple comments. I know that in the consent agenda, there was 30,000 for a media consultant. I didn't see this in the buzz. I didn't get any survey. I don't know who you guys reach out to find out what the community thinks about this type of a law and changes like that. I really still don't think I'm in non-compliance personally, but we'll figure that out. But I just wanted to get some insight on your decision when you did this back in May. So evidently there was some feedback that you reacted to, is what I'm hearing.
Well, there was workshops also. for the public comment and to
So
come
where are
in.
those advertised? I really
They're
know
advertised.
about it. Didn't see it in the buzz.
Yeah, we had in the buzz, we had in the newsletter,
Oh,
we did.
And there's an advertisement in the paper too, isn't there? Yes,
Yeah,
there is.
on the
Council
ordinance.
chambers were packed.
Yeah.
Yes.
We
I
had-
would imagine I would have tried to attend, but again, fell off my radar. So I just think there could be a better way. Maybe your new media consultant can incorporate a way to get feedback from the community better. I don't know if there was a specific thing that caused this to come up.
That was actually a compromise
Oh,
on the boats.
compromise was to keep it behind the line of the house.
It was always like that. It
Yeah.
just wasn't being enforced. So there was a moratorium that
Well,
was introduced.
There was an
But-
issue whether or not it had to be screened or not.
Right.
Right.
And so you're saying it didn't have to be. I'm reading that. And
Yeah, it
I'm
doesn't have,
good.
Doesn't
just
have to
has to be on the side of the house. That's all. That was a compromise.
Behind the front.
So
of the house.
we
Behind
did,
the
we
front side
did,
of
we
the
did
house is
have,
where I'm at. So I guess I'm golden, but we'll
Yeah.
have to figure that out. Thank you,
Yes.
Chief West.
Dana, of course.
And yes, Dana.
I'm very familiar with rod holders.
Everybody.
Vote name.
I've seen it.
Yep.
I can
For
assist
years.
her with this week.
Thank you.
I'm available. We both
Super
finished our
duper.
report. Me, you and Eric can all work on it.
Great.
I may believe you may be okay, but I'm not 100%. I gotta double check. I'm familiar with your lot. Your boat is on the side of the house, which is where your driveway is located. So I'm very familiar with that.
It's the Alpha Court East address that's fooling everybody, even though the mailbox is on the south.
So I'm pretty sure we can help resolve her.
Your rod holder came up in discussions, by the way.
Thank you.
It's
We're
been a
sorry you
blessing in
weren't
my
here to
life, so
participate, but
thank you
very
for
nice boat, by the way.
allowing it to continue.
Yes.
That's part of why, when we bought the place, it was a feature we really counted on being there for us. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, Vic.
Thank you.
Do we have any other audience comments? Bernadette, come on up.
Good evening, Bernadette Shalhoub, 8429 Westlake Drive. There's been a lot of discussion of negative discussions tonight, and I just want to put a positive spin on things. I commend the police department for the job that they do on short staff with the amount of income that they are paying their officers. I think that one of the most advantageous aspects of living in our town is our police department. I like the fact that they're on the roads. They know us. They wave to us. It feels like you're living in Mayberry, USA, because they are familiar with who we are. I love the fact that we have the home safe checks. I don't know that we should discriminate against people who may or may not have a second home as far as whether or not their home should be checked for safety or not. If they're residents, they're residents, they pay the taxes as we do. I think we all deserve the same treatment across the board, no matter what our level of income is, just as, you know, the lower income should have the same rights as the higher income people. I think that home safety checks is one thing that our community offers that I don't know many others do. And I really do appreciate the fact that you do that. It does put a peace of mind in our home when we go away. Not that I could ever get him to go away for more than 3 or 4 days. So it'd be a miracle if I could get a week or 10 days out of him would be great, but that's not going to be happening soon. So I would like to thank the staff, because there's many things that I've wanted to do in the community, like having Father's Day celebrations or Mother's Day celebrations, and all I hear is, Bernadette, we don't have staff. So in my opinion, I think all the community things that we do for our community is advantageous to us being a community. So the more you get together, the more you want to be together, and the more you are together, the more you want to do for your community together. So if it takes staff to help us maintain that, then I'm all for it. I'm all for our taxes going for us to stay as we are and better. We can only get better if we are together, doing more things more often and having camaraderie in doing that. And I love the fact that we have implemented so many things over the course of the council actions. We didn't have any of these things when we first moved in town. at all. I mean, I think we started it with the barbecue and then it just went from there. Greg did the fishing. He did the Friday nights for the kids and the movies. Bobby, we're still waiting for you to do something. Now John is doing something for getting the people together for educational purposes. So I think that in doing those things, our community stays strong and together and not divided. And I don't think we need to continue to have any more divisive things happening in our town. Just try to support one another, understand where people are coming from, make sure that we are compassionate and understanding, and thank those who work very hard for us on a daily basis to keep us safe and to keep our town running. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other audience comments? Frank, come on up.
Rand Carlton, 8432 Waterway Drive. First of all, I want to say thank you for the Arabian Road wall being fixed. It's not finished, but it's being fixed. And it looks very nice so far. Thank you. I am a little concerned though to find out it's costing us $30,000.
I'll update you on that.
Okay, all right, yeah, because that shocked me a little bit, but it looks much better not having a big hole there. And I think Val can agree with me because he has to go in that way every time too. And both sides look equal now. And I understand from the town manager that we're going to get our letters back. So it will say Lake Clark Shores and let everybody know we're part of this special town.
Yes, we will.
But I did want to say thank you for that, since the last time I was here, that was a big deal with me to complain about it. So now that I don't have to complain, I want to say thank you.
We don't call it complaining, Fran, it's concerns.
Concern, it was
Yes.
but I was complaining that we had a hole.
The holy wall?
Some of the contractors move a little bit slower than others. Okay, anybody else? Do we have anything online?
Yes, there was a written comment from Sean Roman. And he said, hello, I have missed many meetings. Was there an update on the status of the proposed Montessori school on Forest Hill?
I think Joe can update you.
I'll be happy.
There's been some movement there.
I'll be happy to do that.
He'll update us on that one. Anything else?
No.
Okay, let's move on to status reports. Charlie?
My report is included in your agenda packet. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for Mr. Sheff from anyone? No? Okay. Very good. Charlie, thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's move on to Chief. Chief, what do you got for us? Nice, good work here. This nice stuff.
I'll go over a few things. You have my information attached to, my reports attached to your information. As all of you know, we are invited to participate with the FBI on
A little bit louder, Chief. Can't hear you.
All right.
Huh?
We were invited and all of our officers went through training with the local FBI agents from South Florida on active shooters. As you know, we don't have any schools in town, but we have 3 that are close by. And with mutual aid agreements and with countywide information, we're required to respond and help. So the training was very well received. Last month, we responded to 349 calls for service. Our response time on emergencies is still around 3 minutes. We assisted Palm Springs on 4 calls, which a couple of robberies that they had and a hostage situation. The Marine unit was out. We had 9 arrests last month. 9 people were booked into the Palm Beach County Jail on warrants, battery, narcotics, sale, narcotics, trespassing, domestics. Officers completed a total of 203 traffic stops for the month. They wrote 153 citations. 21 of those were criminal violations. We had 9 accidents reported. Our flock LPR cameras ran 141,760 tags through our 7-camera system. Now, out of that, we had over a dozen hits involving law enforcement interests. 3 stolen vehicles, 4 stolen tags, sex offenders that drive through town or registered, expired license, suspensions, that type of information. Code enforcement. Code enforcement issued 154 new violations, 120 re-inspections, 37 cases were issued towards the code board, 18 remain in violation. So out of the 37 that were assigned to the code board, only 18 remain. The rest of the people complied. And that's it.
So talk to us real quick about Travis and Carambola. In your report here, you have the speed sign was put there in 7 days.
Yes.
It's almost 2,000 cars. Well, there's a lot of traffic that way, isn't there?
Yeah. That main road doesn't have any speed humps or bumps or.
That's half of it's county, half of it's us.
But on the north end. So we had one left and we had the maintenance department install it over there. So you got a little bit of information on the stats on that.
Good. Any comments for the chief?
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Chief, thank you for that. There's a group of girls right there on that corner that skateboard and ride bikes. And so the family there, they're excited to have that there just on that north side. Just really appreciate that. And obviously get a lot of vehicles going on that road. For the most part, everyone's, not going terribly fast, but you do get that 36, 40 mile an hour piece there. And, it gets dark there, no sidewalk. So if they're skateboarding and riding bikes there, just a bunch of girls, really, that's it. But, keeps them safe. And so that's important. So thank you for doing that.
Anybody else? No? Okay, we'll move on to Mr. Lobello.
Thank you. Well, let me go over the schedule for meetings. The next one is on Wednesday, not Tuesday, the 27th, which is in 2 weeks. That'll be the final budget meeting and a town council meeting. Our next meeting after that is October 10th, which is our regular second Tuesday of the month. Upcoming events, we're going to have a lake cleanup on, actually went to this last year as a volunteer on September 23rd. At 8 a.m. was a fun event. A few of you up here went to it also. It was come out. We have donuts and coffee and help us collect all the garbage out of the lake and the trash. The 27th, we're going to have, also went to this last year. It was a really nice event. The Monster Mash food truck event. It's going to have a Halloween theme on the 27th. Then November 18th, we're going to have our tennis tournament. So looking forward to, I didn't go to the tennis tournament last year, but I'm looking forward to this year. By the way, Joe, we'll be asking to change that date, but we'll discuss it during my comment. Okay, thank you. Pine Tree Bridge, everything was approved by the state. We are actually out to bid right now. So the good news is we're going to get bids in on October. So we will evaluate those and rank them, bring it to the council in November. And then hopefully the contractor can start somewhere between December and January. And we believe it's an 8-month project. So by this time next year, you'll have a new bridge. That's the goal. Annexation is doing well for the Edgewater Park. That's about 95 homes there. Emily and I have been working on this for months now, but we're getting close where we're sending out a notice to those 95. It's a notice that's a courtesy notice to tell them this is going to be on the agenda next month on October 10th, and that if they have any questions to call me. So if anyone's listening, if they have any questions, there is pros and cons to annexation, so please call me. But that basically, after we approve that on October 10th, if you all do, we'll send it to the county, and they already have it on their agenda on November 21st. So hopefully it'll be done by the end of the year. Pickleball, we talked about that last time. The only thing that was outstanding that I knew of was the lighting. We did secure lighting at a cost of $34,900. The other quotes we got were $85,000. So we thought we did okay with that. Again, this is about a $200,000, a little less project. $112,000 is coming from grant funding from the state. So it's really going well. You'll see it right now. It's just asphalt. You'll see it's pretty status quo for about a month because it has to cure for a month, and then you can put the top coating. Hurricane season, we're at the peak of it. That's actually September 10th. So have a plan. You got any questions about how to prepare for, call me. I've had a lot of experience with that. My staff has got a lot of experience. We'll help you. Traffic calming, we actually have a traffic calming study going on right now. We have a draft report where hopefully I'll have it done by October 10th, and that'll be on the agenda for October 10th. The ordinance that you talked about with the trailer ordinance actually did come into law on August 28th after a moratorium. If anyone has any questions, does receive a notice. Remember, a notice means you have to pay a fine. So if you have any questions, just give staff a call, give me a call. I'll be happy to work with you all. The intent of code enforcement is to make the town more beautiful for safety. It's not to collect fines. We also, nice comment by Fran, thank you about the wall. Wanted to update you. Last time we were concerned about the cost, and that's why I said the only bids that we got in were around $30,000, and that's why we were not going forward. But we were able to, thank you, Dana. We actually secured somebody that Dana knew was roughly $13,000. So we got a really good price, we think. I think we got a quality job there. I put in my notes in the report here, it's about $17,000 for totally, but the contract's about $13,000, a couple thousand for the lettering, another $1,000 for the lighting that has been destroyed. So we already got restitution of about $13,000, right, Emily? Somewhere around there from the insurance company. And we're going to ask for the remaining funds. So hopefully we'll get fully reimbursed, except for our deductible until they go subrogate with the other insurance company. Okay, permitting. Permitting, yes, it's a new process. It's gone through some up and downs. So we've had a lot of meetings. I think it's starting to make a turn. It's starting to look better. I think it'll be more effective in the long run to have 24/7 access to permitting, and also the inspectors will have an iPad where they can inspect real time. Everything will be uploaded. You'll know what things are going on real time. I think it's a great program. Other communities are use it. They've had much success with it. If you see people are required to do other things, and just remember, some people have to do other things because they didn't ask for a permit in the beginning. I don't know what these issues are, but you can always call me. I was at a house yesterday looking at a project with 2 building inspectors. So I'm always there for the residents to help you out. So I'm here a lot of hours. So call me if you need anything. I was at another house today about some hedges. So if you have any issues, call me. I'm here to help. But permitting, I think, is going well, Mayor. It's made the turn. There's always resistance to change, especially when you're going to a digital world. The school, you wanted me to update you on the school. It's basically they have an issue with fire suppression, which is they need more water line to operate the school to get approved. So they have to get a new water line to get to that school. And there's easement issues with the county, with us. They are right now at the fire department trying to get approval. So it's not in our hands, but we talk to them weekly.
It's in the works.
It's in the works. I didn't put in the report about Florida mango, but I thought maybe I should. I did call the county, email the county, I'm sorry, and they gave me an update. There's a rationing. I got that word right, John. Couldn't remember that word the other day. There's rationing on concrete, believe it or not. So that's one of the things that contractors are complaining about. So that's delaying the project. They do have until the end of October. That's my understanding. It's not our contract, it's a county contract to get this completed before they get fined. So I've seen more movement out there lately. So hopefully this will be open within the next few weeks or month. But that is the reason why they said there's a delay, is the concrete rationing. So I think that concludes my report.
Do you have any questions for, yes?
We had a question about Guidepost Montessori, I believe, and somebody that hadn't been. Could you just address what ultimately ended up happening with them, if anything?
The school, that's what I said about that water line.
Is that Guidepost or is that a different Montessori school?
No, it's the same one.
Okay.
It's the same one. They have an issue with getting an extra line in there for fire suppression. And and easements. So we've even offered a part of our park, believe it or not, to make this work. So we're still working through it. The contractor's still working through it.
Any other questions for Mr. LaBella?
I'll talk to him. I'm good to go.
Just one question.
Yes.
The tennis tournament, the 18th, but all the people, I guess, who were going to go sign up for it said that's Thanksgiving week. And I guess a lot of people aren't here. So they want to know if they could do the 13th or the 2nd of December. Of December or November?
Can't hear you.
That's parade day?
Yes.
No, Thanksgiving, I believe, is on
It's the following week.
It's the following week.
The 18th?
Yeah, the 18th is the week before Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
For some reason, everyone's.
But we'll get together and
But
pick a date.
Thanksgiving's not that Thursday?
That's on my calendar, but I could be wrong. It's 23rd. I got 23rd.
Yeah, so we'll just look at your calendar. We'd like to move it back to 13th of November,
13th of November.
Sunday.
It's Monday.
18th is a Monday.
The 12th?
12th, yeah.
12th. Okay,
Okay, thanks.
sure.
And just so you know, we'll be self-sustaining this year. The only thing I'd ask you to do is, we can talk later about some issues on the tennis court safety.
Of course.
No biggie, but other than that, thank you for your report. It looks very good. And it's nice to have color pictures in the report. That really is kind of.
That's Emily again. Thank you, Emily. Making me
Thank you, Emily.
look good, Emily.
Reminds me of the encyclopedia when I was a kid.
Mary and Emily, that's their job. All day long, they make me look good. So thank you both.
Okay, we'll move on to council comments. Vice Mayor Shahub.
Like to hear from Lieutenant Fisher with regard to Miss Williams.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, I thought you wanted to meet.
No, I just wanted to be taken care of.
Oh, absolutely. She'll be taken care of.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Also, I'd like to bring to everybody's attention here, can we have the name of this entity, Tim, that has lighting in their yard that can help the town out? What's the name of their company? Spell that for me.
I'm very familiar with that.
Okay, can you follow up on that?
God bless
Thank
you.
All right.
There's
And
South Florida.
also, Tim, if you're telling us it's broken, I appreciate that. Can you tell us also how to fix it? So can you meet with Mr. Labello and tell him how to fix it, please? Thank you. I've mentioned to Mr. Labello that I'd like to see if we can get back the House of the Month. We've had this for several years and all of us, what's wrong? Thumbs up, two thumbs up. I'd like to re-implement the House of the Month Club. I think it took a hiatus during COVID, and I'd like to have staff's input about, see if we can get it started back again. I discussed with Mr. Labello this, and I'm bringing it to the entire council's attention. If it needs council action, so be it. If it can be done administratively, so be it. So let it be written, let it be done. Also, last year, there was tremendous Halloween decorations throughout the town. It was fantastic. And I even stopped and was talking to the people that just do a remarkable job. Their ingenuity and their craftsmanship, I was in awe. And I said, what do you think about having a Halloween decorating contest? And they said, well, why not? And I'm going, that's right, why not? So I brought it to Dan's attention last Halloween, and he deadpanned it, and he looked at me and he says, talk to Mr. Labello. So now I'm reminded again. I think we give everybody enough notice. I think that I'd like to have the council's support in doing this. I'll be more than happy. What's the contest for the Christmas decorations? Do they, is there a dollar figure associated with who gets the first and second?
No.
It's a lawn sign? Oh, let's do a lawn sign. I think that's great. So if we could reach out to staff to see what we can do with regard to the imagination, the most creative, the most scary. My My job is to bring it up to y'all's attention and see if you can follow up on it.
Bob, Mr. Vice Mayor, this will not take a lot of service level or cost, even if we add a gift certificate. So if I just get a nod from a consensus that everybody's okay with it, I'm okay with it.
So moved.
Okay.
Let it be written, let it be done. Beautiful.
So we will have both those programs, House of the Month and Halloween and
Halloween contest.
Halloween contest.
What you need, Fran?
I think that you need to be careful about a gift certificate because we've had the Christmas ones forever and they don't get gift certificates. So you shouldn't start that with Halloween.
Okay, thanks for the input. Appreciate that.
I mean, that's.
Yeah, I like the sign in the front yard.
Sign, okay.
The sign says bring glory enough for the Christmas. I think that's glory enough for Halloween.
Has to be a spooky sign though. Yep.
It could be a picture of me.
Are you done, sir?
Well, I don't know yet. Give me a minute.
Okay, I'm not
Gee
rushing
whiz.
you.
Yeah, yeah.
I've got, you're on my timer too.
Yeah, I tell you.
Wow.
Yeah,
They're
but I don't,
kicking me in, moving it along.
the,
You had the picnic date, but we were still talking about that.
what?
The picnic date.
The picnic, yeah, for the barbecue. You say
Yeah.
picnic, I say barbecue.
I'm sorry. I'll get the lingo right.
Barbecue picnic.
So I talked to Mr. Lobello and trying to see dates of availability. We're trying to, I don't want it to be part of the election. It's never been part of the election since it started. I'd like to have it before the election rather than, I want it, is it after the, I want it after the election. Hopefully we won't have an election this year. But that's my thoughts, and I appreciate everybody's comment, everything that you all do for us. Thanks for the comments, really appreciate it. And I understand what you're going through, Virginia. There's a buddy of mine that called me up that had issues also with the trailer. And so, you know, it just depends what side of the house that you're looking at. So I feel your pain. So other than that, Ms. Tendrich, God bless you on this. I think if you give us a little bit more information, I think you found a lot of support on council for that. Because I know in the past, there was a challenge given to the council on Meals on Wheels. And I think it was Pie Forward or something that, didn't that process? Didn't we do Pie Forward or something like that? So maybe we'll see if we can't inspire our council here to, we'll do one-on-one. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. Chief, thank you very much. Joe, thank you very much. I appreciate working with you on the budget. I know it was challenging and I appreciate all the hard work you did.
Thank you.
Thank you all very, very much.
President Pro Tem Rodriguez. No, I'll go last.
You'll go last. I'll be making
You can
sure.
set the timer too.
I didn't have much for lunch, so I'm kind of like faint here. When I first got on council, I had 5 children in the house. They were little and we did all these great projects and things. And the last of the 5 left, and now we're really sad. It just goes to show you how long I've been up here. I've been with council through 5 children. But I'm really glad that we're continuing to do these events. I think they're very important. And I know we have some younger children now with council members. And it's important to just recognize that there's a younger group of people in town. Because, you know, you kind of forget about it. My kids got older, but I think the younger people are really energetic and have great ideas. I heard some really good ideas tonight. So I just want us to keep remembering we're a young town and we're an older town. We're a wiser town. We're a really small town where everybody knows each other. And I don't think anybody, did you hear the prayer we had today about the brother? Have you ever thought about that? If you really love God, you would love your brother and your sister. And that's kind of, I thought the pastor started out really well with that tonight and it made me think. But other than that, I have no other comments. Mr. Gonzalez, who never speaks very much.
Mr. Gonzalez, you've got the floor.
Thank you for the lead in, but thanks to Sunshine Law folks, I never get to talk to these folks and
All right,
well,
you're done.
Fran, thank you very much for your gratitude. Thank you for taking a moment and, you know, giving us the high and the low. It's nice to be able to praise generously and also have critical review, and both should be supported and applauded, right? As far as the clean lake, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I know you said that early on. It is my truest opinion, because I'm not a scientist, but a lot of that lake gets it's dirty from out west and from fields and from farms and whatnot. But obviously we need to do whatever we can. As I mentioned, for those of you that are new or folks that are online, we don't own the water, we don't own the lake. So what can we do as a community to at least not add to the problem? So that's that. In the same vein as giving gratitude in large proportion, or at least balancing it, I want to invite criticism. I want to invite thoughtful, honest dialogue that we can come together as a family. Standing up at that podium is not a pointing the finger, because remember, when you point the finger, you've got 3 fingers pointing back at you. That's something somebody always told me. And so when we come to the podium, or when we call, or when we engage with each other, because at the end of the day, we're all residents. I mean, with the exception of Charlie and Joe, but when I say we, I see these gentlemen up here. We engage with each other as residents. And I really want to make that absolutely clear. And I know that many of you do. But when we do have a grievance, when we do have something that we complain of, don't understand, don't like, or not on board with, that we do it with care, that we do it with love, right? Because at the end of the day, you don't know if that person's actually on your side or not. And I think that that's important. And I've heard tonight, that, and I really don't want to single anybody out because I just don't think it's fair, but too much staff, but still complaining about the level of service being received. And, you know, when we as residents, I want to put myself in everybody's shoes. Our staff is what makes our town possible. That is, you know, if there is fundamentally something wrong with staff that they're doing that is unethical, that is against the law, that is fraudulent, absolutely no question, that's black and white. But my God, we are all human, and they do a darn good job. And when I say they, and I'm pointing over there in the corner, I'm talking about the police department. I'm talking about staff in the office. I'm talking about everybody that Joe interacts with on a day-to-day basis. I'm talking about the guys in utilities. There has been so many different comments, so many different categories this evening alone, right? Of things that our residents interact with on a day-to-day basis. They wear tons of hats. So please, let's be mindful. I know that most of us are. In terms of talking about the police vehicles or whatnot, I know that this has come up several times. It's important to review. If you want to review the numbers and review the leases, go and sit down and let's have a conversation about it, because this has been brought up several times. The town is saving money by going on to this lease program. I'll leave that there. Talking about staff with bloat and different things, it's not nice. So I want to switch gears a little bit, and the 6900 Westlake was brought up. I'm not sure what the heck's going to happen with that, but I did make an observation the other day when I was getting a donut with my 4-year-old, 1-year-old, and my wife. I saw golf cart tracks, so it looks like folks are utilizing that as a safe means to avoid Forest Hill and essentially complete our Lake Clark loop. Can I coin that term, the Lake Clark loop? So I just wanted to bring that observation up. In fact, on the way here to the meeting, I saw a very nice lady in a really cool vintagey looking hot rod electric car. It's red. So if you're listening, I have a really cute picture of you and your dog riding passenger seat, which I just thought was awesome. Months ago, I caught maybe the same person riding with her dog on a jet ski. And I just thought it was awesome that our residents do fun things like that. Florida League of Cities, we went last month. Unfortunately, Val was out of town, and Mr. Shalhoub ended up sick, which we were supposed to go together. But I do want to take a moment here to thank Mr. Maples and Mr. Freebold and Mr. Lobello for going, for having our best interest in mind. I was also there for sitting through some of the segments and the seminars that were being presented and offered. They also have a big trade show kind of thing that you see a lot of different products. You see anything from sewage pumps to pickleball lighting, funny enough. And I know that you've talked to everybody that has a light bulb pretty much to try to fix that and remedy that. Things from solar lights to traditional lights with FPL. So thank you. I think really if I can distill it, thank you very much, each and every single one of you up here for taking the time. I hardly ever get to thank you guys on a one-on-one, but thank you for the dedication. Thank you for the effort. I'm honored and humbled to be sitting up here next to all of you guys. And really, at the end of the day, thank you to the residents. And I really do, if nothing else, we're in this together. Please utilize that podium as a way that we can move forward and better this. I think that criticism is, good, honest, thoughtful, loving criticism is something that we should all think about and have when we go to there. But that's a very powerful tool. And for those of you online, I'm pointing to the pulpit there, the lectern. That is something we take your comments. We may not be able to respond immediately because then we would be here till midnight. But certainly if there is an issue, if there's a problem, Victoria, my last thing, she brought up an important objective criticism or an observation that she had, and that's something that, we're only human up here and we can't possibly see everything, but we do hear and we do listen, and we do thank you for that. So thank you. Have a wonderful night.
Mr. Maples.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, as I look out, I see a lot of the faithful who come month in, month out to these meetings. And I want to say thank you for your comments. Thank you for standing up there. It takes courage to stand up there and share your values, your opinions with this council. And we are listening. We do hear you. While we may not agree on everything, but we are listening. I can assure you that. And to Victoria, who shared a little bit of her story, obviously we have empathy and we understand that people go through things. We all do, challenges in life. And so we understand that as well. So we don't take those things lightly, or the responsibility that we have sitting here on this dais. And to this council, I want to say thank you as well for supporting the senior group and Bob's your idea, opening that up and having the House of the Month and doing all these things. Really, it's about our community. It's about bringing us together. And so really that's what the aim, that's what the goal is for us, to continue to be together as a community, as Lake Clark Shores. Joe, really excited about this budget, the interest that we're making on our money, and the contingency fund for emergencies, for hurricanes, or whatever that money may be needed for. We have an emergency savings. So really the direction and the millage rate being lowered, I know it's a start. It's a start. And so that's really the direction we're headed in. And so with that, I want to say thank you, Joe, for the work I know that you and your team put in, and the time that we spent together in the conversation that we've had. So residents, thank you. I know it's been a long night, so thank you for staying with us. We covered a lot of ground tonight, and to this council, thank you.
Okay. All right. I'll make it quick here because I've got all these notes I took regarding what everybody said. Let's start with the community policing. Gentlemen, thank you. Chief, Dana, thank you for all your hard work. We get out into our community quite a bit through the League of Cities, through meetings, through a variety of different things. And you guys do have a good reputation. And they all know that Lake Clark Shores is a stepping stone. And we know that up here also. But I want you all to know that we still strive to do the best we can for you to make it a competitive salary so that you can live with your families where you all live. And you guys have, your reputation goes on out there as good community police. And that's something that you should all be very proud of. And we thank you for that. The next thing is, like I had said before, I had just recently talked to a former law enforcement officer that was surprised to hear that we had an officer on duty actually doing code enforcement. He's like, I've never heard of that. Well, he knew about it. And I told him, well, we've gone to a dedicated, and you know, we had a longtime football official. We had a saying in our crew. And our saying was that people will give what you're willing to take. We were talking about coaches and players and things of that nature. So our objective was to go out on the field and take control immediately. You may not like it, but you're going to respect us at the end of the day, and it will taper off how this all goes and how we keep our community nice. So thank you again. Fran, I could not agree with you more about cleaning up the lake. We have been looking at that for years and years and years. As somebody else said, we don't own that water, but they charge us to be responsible for the maintenance of it. I know that there are policies and labels for the amount of herbicides that we can apply to the lake. I've long said, you know, as long as the wildlife is doing okay, their management practice is probably working. And I'm a best management practice guy. We're not going to get away without any form of management or control methods. So yeah, the answer to the lake is, in my opinion, is dredging. You're not going to get rid of a lot of those weeds unless we dredge and get a lot of that biomass that's in there. There's a lot of problems that we're aware of. This takes money. That's why when you look at long-term planning out those monies that we have, the budget is a guideline. It's a guideline. We don't always spend. We come in under, we come in, we do this, we do that. We make adjustments. We have cost change. We have all sorts of different things. So I do agree with you. The lake is our gem in Lake Clark Shores, period. End of story. It just is. So we're working on that constantly. I happen to be on the Natural Resources Committee for the League of Cities, and I attend every single meeting that I can. Joe and I go to the district meetings. We go to the monthly meetings throughout for the whole Palm Beach County League of Cities. We talk with our communities that are around us. How can we partner together? What can we do? And we were just recently, Joe and I, at our policy committee meetings, the first one that we had in Orlando. And once again, the number one priority at the Florida League of Cities and their legislative policy is going to be water quality, water quantity. I've been saying for 15, 16 years up here, water is a big issue in the state of Florida, and it's going to continue to be. The housing market and all of that, and if they continue to do the permits, we have a problem, and it has to get solved on a statewide basis, not just a Lake Clark Shores basis. So that's always out there. And this council and this administration and the town staff and the police, in my heart of hearts, I believe firmly that we are constantly always striving to get better. We live and we learn. We live and we learn. It's not going to all be perfect. I've had a lot of phone calls about code enforcement with the, you know, the trash on the road and things like that. Basically, I don't think anybody's been fined, have they? Unless it's blatant?
We've had a couple.
Yeah.
But they
Okay.
were constantly in violation.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what they'll give, what you're willing to take. If you keep saying, hey, okay, you know, it's that, at some point we have to put some teeth to it. So we are in every department here, and I would vouch for say every council member is constantly trying to get better with how you communicate with your residents. We all have people that we know. We all have people who call us on our phones and talk to us. I got a text up here about somebody, I'm not even going to say it right now, regarding code enforcement. This isn't the time or the place. I've met Eric many times. He's got a tough job, as you know, Dana. It's a tough job. What? You know what? We need to come together. We need to talk. We need to iron out a lot of these issues that we have, figure out where we can go and what we can do, how to make everything better here, period. And when you stop trying to do that, you're probably out of business. And we don't want to do that. The Form 6.
I say that Dana did an admirable job.
I'm not singling you out, Tim. Listen,
I'm just saying.
I know we've had our talks about her. You've had nothing but nice things to say. Like I said, we've known each other a long time. It's nothing personal. I just feel like we're moving in a good direction here. We're trying to make everything better. We're trying new things. We're trying different things. It's just how things go. So, oh, I had a thought that involved you, somebody I just talked to, but now it escaped me. It'll come back.
Hopefully it was a good thought.
It was. No, it was. Like I said, I think every council member up here is trying and striving to do better. John, you're learning as you go. You're new to this. Bobby, you're kind of new to this. And you'll learn and you'll figure things out. And there's some things that you can fix, and there's other things that are out of our control, really, as council members. But once again, we, all five of us gentlemen here, are residents of this town. So we keep the way this place looks, the way it handles itself, and our reputation outside of this area is important. So I'm going to leave you with one of my Jimmy Buffett quotes that I give to my children all the time. And I may have done this one here before, but in memory of him, he actually left this planet Earth on my wife and I's anniversary.
Oh.
It was a very depressing weekend for me. I was a big Jimmy Buffett fan, and I know there's a lot of them out there. So take it all in. It's as big as it seems. Count all your blessings. Remember your dreams. Amen. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, everybody.
We didn't laugh.
See you.
We would all go insane.
And if we didn't all laugh, we would all go insane.
I'm
There's
good
no
with
time to count what I'm worth. I just left the planet